Alright, so as you've probably guessed, I'm now going to be doing all of the episodes of Doctor Who starting from this point onwards. And I am starting off with, as you can tell from the title, the first episode of Series 7, which is Asylum of the Daleks. So the story of the episode is that the Doctor, Amy, Rory, they are all kidnapped at the start of the episode. And basically the Daleks force them onto a planet which is known as the Asylum for Daleks, and the reason that the Daleks who are put on this planet or prison, the reason they're put onto this planet is because they've malfunctioned or gone insane, and basically they force the Doctor and his companions onto the planet, and they're basically saying, okay, blow up the planet and we'll teleport you off. So that's basically the story. They've got the Doctor and his crew have kind of got to blow up the planet basically. So the story, like right off the bat, just hearing about the story, it's when compared to other like Dalek stories, it's pretty different. It's pretty unique. It's like a different format. Let's use that word. A different format. I mean, most Dalek episodes just have the Daleks like trying to take over the world or the universe, or just trying to kill someone. I mean, like, you know, kill the Doctor or something like that. They're pretty basic. This is it's a little bit more interesting. I mean, the whole Asylum like angle is pretty interesting, and you know, it's something a little bit different. I mean, the Daleks were like back in the Russell T Davies era of Doctor Who, like they were appearing in every single series. And I know that Stephen Moffat, the current writer of Doctor Who, he's like trying to not have them return as much, because they returned back in Series 5 in the like third episode, I think, Victory of the Daleks, and then in Series 6 we kind of had like a little break from them in Series 6. Now they returned in Series 7 in the first episode. I mean, I am aware that they did have a cameo at the end of Series 6 in the last episode, but yet again it was more of a cameo, and the Dalek only appeared for like 5 seconds, and it was only one anyway. And I'm not sure if this is true or false, but I did read somewhere that the BBC have to show a Dalek once a year in their TV shows or in Doctor Who, otherwise they're going to lose the rights to them. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I did read that somewhere, so that might explain why he just threw a cameo at the end of the 6th series. Yeah, 6. I'm getting them mixed up there. Okay, so there's a twist towards the end of this episode, which I thought was pretty effective. I mean, I saw some people online saying they thought it's pretty obvious. I don't know. I personally, I don't really see how you could really guess the twist. I mean, it's pretty... like, it's not that they don't give you clues. Like, there are a few clues, I guess, but I can't really buy anybody actually guessing this twist. And the way it plays out is, basically, someone is in a room, and there's another thing on the other side of the room, and what happens is that the camera like rotates around to show you what's on the other side of the room. So the camera kind of does like a slow rotation around the room, and when we finally see what's on the other side of the room, that's the twist. So that's kind of like how the revelation is done. And so the suspense when the camera was like rotating around was pretty, you know, it was pretty suspenseful there. It's kind of intense. Like I was really into the episode at this point. I was like really interested in what was on the other side of the room. And when the revelation itself was actually pretty shocking. I mean, it was a nice little jaw-dropping moment. I mean, you don't get much twists in like Doctor Who anyway. Like the only one I can recall recently is the one in the Angel episode. Like there was a twist in the Angel episode back in Series 5, like in the first part, and again that was actually a really good twist. That really got me. I wouldn't count the revelation at the end of Series 7 in the finale. I wouldn't count that as a twist. Like this is like, you know, Doctor Who doesn't have much twists, or at least as far as I can remember off the top of my head right now. So it's nice to, I guess, have a twist in this episode. But what's even better is that it is an effective twist. It worked, or at least it worked for me. Like I found it shocking. Like I said, I thought it worked really well. So the acting is fine. Like I don't know, whatever. Like everybody does a fine job of playing, you know, their characters, I guess. The special effects, they are actually pretty decent as far as Doctor Who goes. I mean, most of the time the special effects are pretty bad. I mean, most of the time the CGI isn't too good, but it was decent enough in this episode. I mean, you have stuff like exterior, like, you know, shots in space of planets, and there's characters again teleported left, right, and center every now and again throughout the episode. There's 1 or 2 explosions and stuff. But yeah, the special effects, they look decent enough. You know, they're fine. Like, they're bearable. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, they don't look bad, let's just say that. They look decent enough, like, as far as Doctor Who goes, at least. There were these one things, like, which are featured throughout the episode. It's like human Dalek things. It's basically humans, and they have, like, eye stalks sticking out of their, like, foreheads. And basically, they're being controlled by the Daleks, so... Basically, this, like, half human, half Dalek kind of people. And basically, it's just a normal human being, but with like an Dalek eye stalk sticking out the forehead. I thought they were kind of lame, I thought. Like, I guess the special effects were fine on them, but I'm just saying, I guess the design of them kind of looked a bit silly, I guess. I wasn't a fan of those things. And they are featured quite a bit throughout the episode as well. Another thing is, Stephen Moffat, the writer, he said that he wanted to make the Daleks scary again. Personally, it doesn't. I really can't see myself ever like finding the Daleks scary. Like, it doesn't matter how you direct an episode or how you like portray the Daleks in an episode. I don't think I'll ever find them scary. I guess it's more of a nostalgia thing. Like, if you watched like the old Doctor Who episodes as a kid, you found the Daleks scary back then. I guess that's the only way you could find them scary right now. I don't know. Like, personally, I can't really take them that seriously. Like, I mean, they're just like a, you know, like a bin on wheels, basically. I find it difficult to take them, well, you know, I can take them seriously, I can get into the episode, but as for, like, finding them scary, not so much. That's something I can't really, like, it's not something I could really do. Like, I can take them seriously, though, you know. So in this, and also he said in this episode he wanted to make them more threatening, because, yeah, he just wanted to make them more threatening, I guess. And you know, yeah, sure, I guess that's, even though I wouldn't be able to find them scary, I guess you could, I could find them threatening if it's done right, but personally I didn't feel as if this episode was too different to how they were portrayed in the previous episodes. There was no, like, they weren't portrayed any differently to how they were in the Russell T Davies episodes, to be honest with you. Like, what I'm saying is, this episode is really good. It's definitely one of the best, like, Dalek stories out of all of the new series. I haven't watched much of the classic series, so I can't really speak. You know, I can't really compare this episode to the episodes from the classic series. But since the 2005 revival, this is probably the best episode since the Dalek episode in Series 1, which was just called Dalek. I mean, yeah, I'm just saying, the Daleks, I didn't really find them threatening in this episode. They weren't really portrayed any differently to how they were in the previous episodes. Like, for example, there's a room, there's one or two scenes where a character or several characters are in a room with several Daleks, and, you know, the Daleks are like shooting at them, but the characters or character easily dodges the lasers. Like, you know, the character just like ducks, you know, runs, ducks, does a little roll, and avoids any of the lasers from the Daleks and gets away fine. I like, stuff like that. They're not too accurate with when they're trying to zap people with those, like, laser beams they have. So, if you're talking about them being threatening, I don't know, like, they couldn't hit any of the characters. And there were like 20 of them in one room, and they didn't manage to hit any of the characters at all. And the character was just running and ducking, and that's it. Well, I guess you could explain that by the, you know, I guess the excuse for that is that all of these Daleks are like malfunctioned. I mean, that's why they are in the asylum. So I guess you could excuse that, you know, their crappy aiming skills because these guys are malfunctioned, I guess. That could explain it. There are some corpses in this episode. There's a few like bodies, dead bodies that the Doctor finds. I thought it was kind of dark. I mean, you know, you got to bear in mind right now that Doctor Who's like a kids, well, it's not really a kids show. A kids show. It's more of a family show. I guess that's how I would describe it, a family show. I mean, the darkest thing they've ever done, in my opinion, would be the Weeping Angels. I mean, those things are pretty creepy. And like, when they're going around like breaking people's necks back in Series 5, that was kind of brutal, I thought. I mean, sure, you didn't see them snapping anyone's necks, but that sound effect alone was kind of like, it was kind of brutal for like a family show, you know. So here we have a few bodies, like the Doctor finds a few bodies. And the bodies kind of look pretty, they're kind of detailed. I mean, they looked kind of gruesome, like, for a family show. And this isn't a complaint or anything, I'm just like making an observation, I'm just saying, you know, like, I love that kind of stuff, you know. It's great that, you know, I just liked the detail in the bodies. I was just like kind of surprised by how detailed they were. And like, for a family show, it was kind of gruesome, these bodies, but it's not a complaint, it's just an observation. I just had to point that out. You know, I love the bodies, I thought they looked great. I mean, this is quite a big step up when compared to that episode with the flesh-eating shadows. You know, the episode back in series 4 where those shadows were like, you know, the flesh-eating shadows. Like when they killed someone, the skeleton was like as dry as a bone, which is understandable, I guess. But the skeleton just looked really lame and just so plastic and fake looking. I mean, it looked awful. But this, in this case, the bodies that they find, they're like all decomposing. The skin is rotted away. You know, it's pretty gruesome. Again, I'm using the word a lot, gruesome, but that's what they were. They were pretty gruesome for a family show. Okay, so moving on. So this episode takes place in an asylum of the Daleks, like I said. So it's like a bunch of malfunctioned or broken down Daleks like scattered throughout the place, and there's a lot of them. And what I thought was disappointing about this is that we didn't really see much of this. I mean, this is a whole entire planet, you know, completely filled with malfunctioned Daleks, and we only really see like one tiny underground bunker of the asylum. Like we only see like a mile-long underground bunker of the asylum. Like we don't get to see the rest of the planet. So I was kind of disappointed by that. I was expecting that we would see a lot more of the asylum. So basically what I'm saying is that I wish we had seen a lot more of the asylum. I mean, you only see a tiny bit, so it would have been, you know, really interesting to see the rest of the asylum, but whatever, I don't mind. I mean, we gotta bear in mind this is like a 50-minute. I mean, this was a 50-minute episode, so they can't really explore too much of the asylum because of the time limit. I mean, this is a TV show, the episodes have to be like 50 minutes long, so I do understand why they didn't show the rest, but I'm just saying it would have been interesting, and it was kind of like disappointing that we didn't get to see any more of the asylum. Another thing which was teased before the episode was released was the fact that basically Stephen Moffat teased that he was bringing back all of the Daleks, so it's not just like one type of Dalek, it's all of like the classic Daleks, like all of the different models we've had over the years. They are all coming back for this one episode, and that is true. We do see quite we see a few of them like just in the background, like you can spot some models in the background, but for the most part they just use the 2005 Daleks for the most part, like the gold bronze coloured kind of Daleks. Like they just use those Daleks for the most part. Like they are featured predominant, I can't pronounce the word. They are featured most, let's say the most out of any of the other Daleks. They're like golden brown bronze Daleks from the 2005 series. They are the Daleks which are used like most of the time throughout this episode. So I was kind of disappointed by that. I mean, I was expecting to see more like variety in the Daleks, or at least to see more of the other types of Daleks, but instead we see a few of them in the background, and then the only ones that really get into any action are the, you know, the 2005 Daleks, the bronze golden ones. So I was kind of disappointed that we didn't get to see much variety in the Daleks. Like I said, you just see a few like different ones in the background, but for the most part it is the one from the Daleks from the Russell T Davies era, which is like featured most throughout the episode. Okay, let's move on. One thing which I am concerned, like I'm watching out for this kind of stuff. What they do in Doctor Who a few times, which I can't stand, is basically when the story is resolved. Deus Ex Machinas, I hate them like everybody hates them, but what I'm even more concerned about than Deus Ex Machinas is when stories are resolved by the power of love. They did this a few times. I mean, in Closing Time in Series 7, Series 6, that's the Cyberman episode for those of you who don't know. Like, the story is basically resolved by the power of love. The power of love triumphs over evil, that kind of thing. They did that, and that episode, honestly, I would have said that was one of my favourite episodes of all time if they didn't do that, because the way that episode was ending was dark as hell, but then they ruined it with that power of love crap that is just terrible. So I am always concerned in every single episode from this point onwards that they won't use the power of love to resolve the storyline. They do have like a kind of vague like power of love kind of thing between Amy and Rory, but it's like it's not used to resolve the like main story. Like the way the main story was resolved, I was fine with. It's not much of a Deus Ex Machina, I was fine with it, it was okay. And the story arc as well. So I am aware that Stephen Moffat said that this the story arc, there isn't going to be much of a story arc in this series. Like series 6 was like extremely heavy with the story arc. I mean that was really confusing. Like it all made sense in the end, but especially to casual viewers, it was just extremely confusing. I mean, Yeah, it was just really confusing. So Stephen Moffat has said that he's going to be slowing down on the story arc. It's nowhere near as heavy as before. But even then, at the end of this episode, there is a slight kind of continuation of the story arc. The story arc is moved on. Like, the story arc from Series 6 is, like, continued just a tiny bit. But the thing is, it's done pretty subtly, I would say. I mean, it's done in a way where casual viewers won't pick up on it. However, if you're like a fan of the show and you actually remember what happened in the, like, at the end, if you actually remember what happened in the at the end of Series 6, something which I'm sure most casual viewers don't, then you will like pick up on the fact that the story arc is being continued in this episode. But it's done really subtly, so casual viewers won't be confused, or they won't even notice it. But if you're a fan of the show and can actually remember what happened at the end of Series 6, you'll notice, like, you know, the thing is what is continuing. I did like it though. I'm not quite sure what to think. I mean, something happens at the end of this episode. It's a huge change up. I can't say what it is for the sake of spoilers, but something happens at the end of the episode which wipes a lot of stuff out. I mean, a lot of past events are completely irrelevant because of what happens at the end of this episode. I'm not going to say what because of spoilers, but basically I'm not quite sure what to think about it. I'm pretty sure this pissed off a lot of fans, like hardcore, die-hard fans of the series. But I don't know, I'm not quite sure what to think about it myself. I kind of liked it, and you know, it's cool. It's continuing the story arc from Series 6, like I said, but at the same time, I feel as if it's kind of like pissing off a lot of die-hard fans of the series, so I'm not quite sure what to think about it. I kind of liked it, but at the same time, I'm not sure. I was thinking, that's kind of like a big, bold thing to do. I'm not sure if Stephen Moffat should have done that. Like, I'm not too sure about that. What else is there? I'm looking at my notes there on my computer monitor. Okay, so I've just got two more things to talk about. They slightly changed the title sequence. Just, like, really slightly. I didn't like it. I've heard some people say, I'm not sure if this is true or not, I just read it somewhere online, I'm not sure if it's true, but I believe they are changing like each title sequence slightly. They are altering every title sequence slightly to fit the theme of each episode. So like they might have some sort of like Wild West font for the Wild West episode. I don't know what episode that is. I think it's the third one or fourth, I don't know. But basically they changed the title sequence slightly. Basically what, like, you know, all of the graphics and everything is identical. The only thing that's different is the text and the logo. It's like the font of the text has changed, but I really don't like it. It felt really cheap. I mean, instead of this like flashy, like, you know, stylistic font, instead it's just kind of like a really generic, simple, plain white text, and it just looks so bland and boring. I just really didn't like it. No, I just wasn't a fan of it. Well, I think that's really all I have to say. So you know, it's great. I liked it. It's you know, it's decent. It was really entertaining. I mean, like for like 50 or 60 minutes, for however long it was, like the time just flew by. It just went by straight away. So that's, you know, that obviously that's good. Like time just flew by. So it's a really entertaining one. It's a great way to start the series, I guess. And now the like next, what was it? So this was like the first episode, and now episode 2 and 3 and 4, I just don't care. I mean, the next one looks pretty lame, to be honest, from what I've seen of the trailer. Like I'm really not looking forward to the next one. 3 and 4, I like one of them is like a Wild West one, I believe. That's what I've seen. That one looks kind of interesting, I guess. I have no idea what the other one is. But I believe the 5th episode, this one with the angels come back, is the 5th one, and like everyone loves the angels. Like who doesn't? They're like the most famous and most loved like creatures of all time in the city, in like the whole entire show. So like they're coming back for the 5th ones, and because everybody knows they're coming back for the 5th one, so like I just don't care about the next 3 episodes. I'm sorry. Like they're not interesting to me. It's just like bring on the angels. Like I'll give them a chance, of course. Like I'll give them like a fair look at, I guess. Like I'll try not to be bored by them, I guess. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. So yeah, that's it. I'll you know, of course I'll do the next episodes as well. And yeah, that's all I have to say. So thanks for watching. See ya.